got a ton of background from her Muay Thai experience. You know, she's a very dangerous opponent in a lot of different areas. She can be a very good counter puncher. She can be very strong in the clinch. She can be very heavy when she's on top on the ground. So I feel like she's got a lot of things to really look out for. You know, with her last fight with Amanda Nunes, I know Nunes won the fight, but in that third round, Valentina was the one that was pulling away. So if it would have been a longer fight, you know, I think it would have gone the other way. And so I feel like she's definitely someone that, I mean, I'm not looking past her at all. She's very tough.
And then obviously you mentioned Amanda. Did you have a chance to watch Amanda fight Miesha?
I watched the fight, yeah. I just was watching to see how it went. You know, I wasn't really emotionally invested one way or the other, but I figured if Amanda won, I figured it would be round 1 or 2, and if Miesha won, I figured it would be 3, 4, or 5 or decision. Yeah, you know. So, of course, I wish that would have been me in my fight with Miesha instead of, you know, Amanda doing it. But really, as far as I have my fight in front of me, so I just kind of was watching to see what happened.
Who do you think should be next for Amanda?
You know, I don't know. I never really put fights together. I never really call anybody out. I'm there for whatever opportunity is there, and I know that for me, I just want to get through this weekend, and I want to do well, and that's really as long as I really look forward.
Do you think it'll be harder now because you're coming off of a big loss like that? I mean, you've lost before in your career, but does this one impact you mentally differently than other ones have?
I feel mentally after a loss, you always deal with your own doubt in your own mind, but it also kind of fuels the fire at the same time of what you need to do to get better. Not that I didn't know that I need to work on my ground game, you know, after the last fight. So we always do, you know, no gi grappling because we don't fight in a gi. So, but before the fight, actually, my jiu-jitsu coaches had given me a gi, and they're like, obviously not right now, but after your fight, you should just come in and learn some gi, and I thought, all right. So after this fight, you know, there was like pictures out that we put. I was in my gi with my white belt, you know, and they're like, a little too late to start grappling now. It's like, don't think that I went into that fight without actually trying. Come on. Yes, I was still working on my ground game before the Miesha fight, just because the way it ended didn't mean that I was like, oh, maybe now I'll work on it, you know. But so, I mean, yes, it is just that constant reminder of how much I need it. But I've always been wanting to learn it, and I've always needed to know more and do more. With any of it, I'm still working on my jab. My goodness, you know, it's like, yeah, I know I need to work on all of it.
Yeah. Because it also, it seemed like when you were fighting Ronda, you were almost liberated because at the time everybody just expects her to win, you know what I mean? And so now that feeling of liberation must be a little different, right? A little bit gone.
You know, the feeling of the fight with Ronda was just, you know, I knew I had everything to prove, and I knew that I was going to get in there and do my best, and I knew I was capable, and that's really as simple as I had to make it. Otherwise, if you look at the odds and you look at the, oh my gosh, you know, what people were mostly talking about before that fight was if they thought I would last longer than her other opponents. It's like, I'm not there to last longer. I'm not there to be... before that fight, I told my coaches, I said, I'm not going for a participation ribbon to say I fought Ronda Rousey. I am going for the gold. I am going for the blue ribbon. And that is as simple as I thought of it, you know, that yes, she's this big person. If I was to look at all the odds and what everybody else thought of it, then yeah, I would have been mentally broken before that fight. So really it was in my own mind. And just as I knew Miesha was a tough opponent, things happen. Right now, though, it's Valentina, and she's just as tough, as not more, than you know, what I've had to face before. So I'm really focused on trying to make the most of this fight, because you're only promised this opportunity. Who knows what's next?
Does the Miesha fight, Holly, mean as much to you now that she doesn't have the title? Because obviously you wanted to avenge that loss, but she also had the title, so it was doubly important. Does it mean as much now?
I want to avenge a loss. No matter what, whether she had the belt or not, I still would hate the fact that I lost the fight.
Right.
Whether it would have been for the belt or not. I mean, I want to win no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's for the belt or not. And so yeah, it's a sour taste in my mouth, just the loss in itself. Belt or no belt, it still would bother me either way.
So you weren't bummed at all that Nunes beat Tate? Like you weren't like.
Well, I wanted to be the one to do it.
Right.
That's for sure. I mean, and anybody that beats me, I know as much as people say, oh, do you want her to go lose now? And I'm like, no, because if she beat me, she better beat everybody else. You know, I think that if they get beat, that shows you're maybe not as good. I mean, if you really look at the big picture, it's like I don't really want them to go lose now. I want them to beat everybody. If they beat me, they better beat everybody. So, yeah, it's one of those things I wanted to be the one to do that.
Right.
But it's also not anything I keep saying, like emotionally invested in. It was
Right.
just kind of like whatever happens anyway. I'm more focused on Valentina. So, that was just last weekend. I happened to be at the fights because I came out to Vegas to train because all my coaches were there. We had fighters fighting Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of that week. So I actually went there to train. And I thought if I make it to the fights, great. Which I did. I wound up going in flip-flops and shorts because I wasn't even ready for the day. But, I was there and I was curious to watch the fight. I want to see how it goes. I always like to see how my competition's going to perform. But I'm still just focused on my fight.
So what was that immediate thought when Nunes had Tate in the rear naked choke? What is going through your mind at that moment? Were you like, fuck, or were you like...
I was like, no, maybe she'll get out of it. I don't know. Because Miesha's a scrambler, she's a scrapper. Thought maybe she'll get out of it. Nope, she tapped. And I was like, all right, you ready for bed? Let's go. Let's go. That was pretty much it.
I know you said that you felt like you wish it was you doing that, but did you get the feeling that it should have been you too, in a sense? Because many people thought that it should have been you in that fight, in that rematch with Miesha, and UFC 200 would have made sense in some ways.
Well, I think for me, if I lose, I can't expect these opportunities to be handed to me. I feel like you need to perform in order to have more doors open. So I couldn't lose the fight and then come back and say, well, this is what I want. I feel like it needs to be earned. So when they didn't give me the rematch, yes, I wanted it, but when they didn't give it to me, it's, I didn't cry about it. I just, what's next then, so.
Holly, if you had the chance, would you want to fight Ron again or go for the title shot?
I think I can't even look that far. I can't even think of other fighters right now because Valentina is who I'm facing and she's so tough. If I don't win this, then they may not give me either of those opportunities. So I really, honestly, I honestly don't think about it.
That has to be a nice feeling, though, giving you the main event on a Fox show. That has to buoy your spirits, even if you didn't get the rematch you wanted.
Right. I think it's a great opportunity, and I'm very blessed very thankful and honored that they, have faith in me to be, doing this main event in Chicago, and I do feel like I have a great opportunity ahead of me now. So I just want to make the most of it. Is really where I'm at with it. I don't want to be another letdown. So.
Well, kind of what Mark was talking about when you're watching the other women, Juliana Pena and Kat Zingano, that was a great fight, and Juliana's really making her way up the rankings. I'm curious what you think of that fight, or in both of those fighters in particular.
That fight was actually a pretty good little scrap. I know Pena's, came out with the win, but Kat Zingano had some pretty impressive kind of takedowns, and they were both being pretty aggressive with things. I always like to watch what people are coming out with in a fight and see how they perform. And every fighter is always evolving, always getting better. And I do like to see that competition. I always like to think how I would be able to kind of be victorious against certain situations. That's how a lot of times how I watch fights. But I was had a good time watching all the fights.
I'm curious too what you think, because some people argue that because the title has changed hands now a few times, that means the division is weak. Or other people argue, no, it actually means it's more competitive. How do you see it?
I feel like it's very competitive. If it was weak, that means that there'd still be one champion running through everybody. I feel like obviously this is something that is there's a lot of competition in our division. I feel like too it's I was kind of thinking about this as a whole, this is the first weight class that was for female in the UFC, and I think that just started a big kind of motivation and push for a lot of these girls looking, you know what, I want to fight in the UFC, and wow, we're going to have these opportunities. And so I feel like our weight division it created this spark to really, really shoot for greatness, to want these opportunities, and I think that has created a very, very tough set of individuals. You know, I feel like the skill level and the kind of desire in our weight classes is high. I feel like it's very, very competitive. The top 5 aren't the same top 5 they were, you know, before. That just shows that there's new talent, new competition always coming, and that keeps it unpredictable. You don't know what's coming. I mean, if I really had it my way, we wouldn't be on the 4th champion. We'd still be on the 2nd champion. But
what's your take on Joanna Jędrzejczyk?
I think she's great. She's very, you know, she's one of those, I think that one of the things I've probably heard her say the most with a lot of her, you know, kind of questions are when people ask her, you know, what's she gonna do, and she just go hard. And I like that mentality. I'm just gonna go, and she kind of doesn't really overthink too much. I mean, I'm sure, you know, with her camp and stuff, they think into detail, but I do like her just kind of go hard mentality, and it makes it a very interesting fight. And I feel like she has really proven herself to be a dominant champion.